Ah, it's nice to be out in the barn again. Oh, BTGP. That's a grape. I prepped this Reaper like a Vega Yellow last year. It's cold out here. I can't judge a book by its cover. Oh my goodness. Oh. Live chat. Make sure everything is okay. What is this? Oh, I can green screen. I don't want to see any trade secrets behind me, so maybe I should green screen. What is going on, man? Yeah, trade secrets like this. This is to my left here. Trade secrets like the holy. That's how I lighten up my cart. I got a whole bunch of holes in my seat. I considered getting a brand new seat, and eventually I might still. But there's something about a nice broken in seat that's quite nice. Now, does it have any bearing on handling? Maybe if it's not keeping you in the same set position the entire time. But I'm not fine tuned enough driver to be able to pick that out. We need trade secrets. Yeah. this I have said this before, and I said this to my engine builder when I was down there dropping off the engine. It's I do okay. I think I did okay at my first year of clone. Just being able to not knowing etiquette and the way I race. I can hold my own in an open, and I have held my own in an open. Racing UAS stuff. That's primarily what I was doing for the longest point of time. But yeah, it's the clone is difficult, man. We got finished fourth in the Masters. Yes, nice. Yeah, dude, Jasper is a wicked fast track. When we were there in 2019 at the UAS Grand Nationals, that track was bad fast. I got a picture somewhere around here. Maybe it's not here. Maybe it's just a picture I had. It is at the. Is that it? That might be it. Let's go look at that. It's at the Grand Nationals in Jasper. No, that's not it. I'm looking here, not to leave you guys in the dark. I mean, it's dark over here. I thought that was it. Maybe it is. You'd have to look closer, but there is a picture of me at Jasper, and I'm carrying my left front. That's how much I was. I remember specifically entering 1 and 2. It just heaved the thing down in the corner, and I would have to wait on it to rotate because there was so much bite. And we're not used to that type of bite up here. So I'd have to wait until the thing rotated, and I could almost feel it start to pick the left front up. And as soon as it started to go left front, I go wide open. It would just rifle off the turn. It was really wicked. Running close. The big gearing difference. There might be circumference of the tire is going to be the biggest thing, and I don't know the math to say so. So your standard outside tire is going to be anywhere 33 and a half. Most tires nowadays are trying to go that small, but 34 is the baseline. I mean, a right rear has been 37 on me before, 38. That was a long time ago. I'm assuming that those tires are still that big. I never did figure out why they just didn't. Make it a little. They could use the platform of a standard 800 or 900 right side tire, but then make it treaded. I don't know why there must be something logistically wrong, or not wrong, but they'd have to fight over in order to make a tire that small. Because it'd be of my opinion that all the chassis nowadays are based off of your 34-inch circumference right rear and right front for that matter. That treads would want to maintain that size in order for the chassis to behave similarly, because I always had a lot of rear stagger, either a lot of rear stagger or no rear stagger when I had treads before. So but yes, you're definitely, if you're growing that much, if you're growing up to 2 to 3 inches on your right rear, for instance, you're gonna have to add quite a few teeth in order to pull around that much more rubber. I'm not quite sure, how many that's going to be. I would say 2 or 3 at least. Um, it's an opinion though, because I haven't done it in so very long that I'm taking a stab at. And one hell of a line. Yeah, that track is. I was impressed. Tampa. Did I hear Tampa has gone away? Dirt Devils. That's gone. That's a bummer. That was a nice facility too. I ran down there, had it been 13 years ago. Really enjoyed that. Ran with the Unlimited All Stars at FKA race. FKA, I think it's FKA back then. Why do I say clones are difficult? It's a mentality thing. It is a different style of driving. So they're difficult for me. I'll say that. There is a pureness to the talent. You only have a finite amount of horsepower, and you must be able to maximize that horsepower for every single lap in order to have a winning kart. With UAS, it's not point and shoot type of thing, but if you get yourself in a bobble, if you get out of line and stuff, you have more than enough horsepower to recover your speed that you lost there. Now, somebody who doesn't make any mistakes with the same horsepower is clearly going to be faster, but that's just it. That if you get yourself in a bind with a lot of horsepower, chances are you can just kind of muscle your way out of it. To whereas if you run a clone, it's a finite amount of horsepower, and you really can't do that with those. If you lose a run, if you check up, if you do, certain things in a clone, the recovery is 3 to 4 laps. To whereas, it's almost instantaneous in an open. If you bobble in a corner or whatever, or if you can get the rear end hook back up, you can just shoot down the next straightaway and regather yourself up for that. So it's running clone is a skill set that I am just not completely used to. I found, a whole bunch of my UAS compadres said that I was going to hate it, that I was going to, long for the horsepower. And there's something to it. As soon as I got back in the open for the last race of the year, there's something to mat in the gas on 70 horsepower that you're like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. But the skills, the smoothness that you have to have, there it's just a different type of racing, and I at least can understand why people enjoy it and why it is the most popular form of racing. It's definitely a little less expensive in the general ballpark of chassis, clone, clutch, this and that. I mean, we've had this discussion before that I've said that, people complaining that, with the new billet rod and cam, that they're going to have to, spend a little more money on their clone. And and I get it. It's a lawnmower engine that is now getting upwards of, $1,400 to $1,700. I'm sure there's people getting, $2,000 for a very well prepared one. But you're also talking to somebody who owns a $7,000 to $8,000 open. That's one engine. That's So I get it. I hear people say that, hey man, clones are getting more expensive. I totally understand when you're used to a certain price and then the price goes up. I totally understand that. But when you're coming from a billet bottom end, billet jack shaft, 4-disc clutch, electronically controlled power valve engine, like it's different. It's just different. Yeah. Running Hoosier A40s. See, I saw when I was at JC. I saw some Hoosiers. It's just I had some FKs. I think I got rid of them. And I won a race on some FKs a long time ago. I really wish Hoosier had pushed a little harder into the karting world, but it's tough when you're battling against, the main people, which up until the past couple of years, reefer wasn't involved, but you're talking, Maxxis, Burris, and Vega were just, the dynamic three that covered pretty much the country. And then Hoosier, they have their niche, and they're obviously micros and stuff like that. I think it might have been a little tougher to push into the cart market and have staying power, unless you were going to do something as radical as like Reaper did and come in just, clearly a very cost effective tire. So I wish Hoosier was a bigger thing. I like the FKs. I thought they're awesome. I really thought they performed well. That the one race I won, it was at Starlight Speedway. They performed amazing. I was super happy with them, but they were kind of nichey tire. They only liked a certain type of surface. I couldn't run them on a track that loved burrs, and it had to be a track that would normally be a Vega yellow track, but got hard, and that's what that Starlight track was. The Devils is a beautiful. Oh wow, that's a bummer, man. If in case you guys don't know, Degenerate Garage, go subscribe to him. Fantastic channel. I really like his stuff. I was catching up on that. I don't get to watch a lot of videos at night. I got a lot going on when I get out of work, but I put in both Degenerate Garage and Super Down South. Wait, no, I'm gonna get that wrong. I said that wrong. You know what I mean? Super Duper South. And I listen to them at work. It just, I have it in the background, and it's just sometimes it's the purr of the engine. I'm like, I can't wait till this race season. But yeah, Dirt Devils, that's a bummer. That was a really nice track. I qualified seventh out of the UAS. I got up to fourth. And then as I was coming around to lap my old man, it was this MX engines were just getting in. So he had a Suzuki 450. I was coming around to lap him. Well, the brake was starting to hang up on me, so I had to stay off it. And I just timed it wrong. I came around to my old man to lap him, and he kind of wiggled, and I touched the brakes and snapped me loose, and whoop, and around I went. It's like, oh, there goes that. And I think I ended up finished seventh. I gave up a couple spots because of that. Oopsie. But yeah, that was Dirt Devils. I had a blast. There's short, not short. I kept on hearing about these fire ants, the little red pricks. Picked up the starter to purge down the engine at the end of the day. I kept on hearing about. We spent a week in Florida. Kept on hearing, oh, fire ants, fire ants. You see those hills? Stay away from those little mounds. And blah blah blah. I was just like, what are you talking about? And man, I picked up that starter, and there must have been some on there, and like 2 or 3 of them zapped me. Woo! They'll get your attention in a hurry. Do you feel UAS or clone requires more driver ability? I think that they're 2 different styles, but you have to be smoother in clone for certain. You can be Evan C, for instance, extraordinarily smooth racer. Would if he delved himself completely into the world of clones, I think he would be one of the top notch clone racers in the United States. But he has taken that smooth style, that patience that it takes to be fast, and acclimated it to UAS. So both styles come back and forth. There is there's variables to it, because I've said before that in the world of UAS, I'm probably considered an 8 or 9 on aggressive. I have been in my fair share of confrontations on track, fair share of confrontations off of track because of my want to go forward, and little oopsies I've had with individuals. Now that 8 or 9 in UAS is probably a 4 in clone. I can't tell you how many positions I gave up this year because I checked up, because I hit brake, because I was unwilling to rough people up, or what I would consider rough them up, get into them to move them, which, it happened a couple times. And then I apologize after, hey man, sorry about getting into you. And they're like, what are you talking about? It was a different, it's a different skill set that takes patience on both ends. You can't just, because you have, 70 to 100 horsepower, whatever it is you're running in UAS, doesn't mean you can get yourself out of every single pickle, because when somebody, say an Evan C, nails setup as well as they hit tires, they have enough horsepower, and you can't just be like, hey, I got 30 more horsepower than Evan. I should be able to just run away from them. It's not true. You have to nail setup on both. It takes a I think it takes a little more aggression in clone, but it's not as violent. It's really hard to break down, but I really enjoy both. I think the skill set on both ends is I think that clones are a little more tire dependent. It doesn't mean that UAS isn't tire dependent. It just means that clones are more tire dependent because again, that lack of horsepower makes every little bit of grip, every little bit of handling, means so much better. So much better. Yeah, mean more to you. That's what I sometimes I talk and I'm like, huh, what did I just say? Okay. I would much rather run my clone. Not just because. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that totally. Now that being said, I spent this past year, running clone, and I'm honestly really looking forward to running clone again. And it's not scared. I'm going to use the word scared, but it's not. It's not the same. I'm scared of getting back in the open because I think I haven't performed well in the open since I got into the clone. So I'm not scared in the world of I'm scared of the horsepower. I'm scared of the speed. That's not it. I'm Because the setups are different, because the handling characteristics are different. I do have, I'm having a little bit. I had a little bit of problem adjusting back to the open. I had spent so much time last year trying to concentrate on being smooth and taking the runs when I needed to take the runs in the clone that it kind of messed with my noodle a little bit when it came to run in the open. Now I have to get my crap together because I'll be running the intent is to go to the Grand Nationals this year in Iowa, in Delaware Speedway, Iowa. That's still messes with me. Delaware's, not Iowa, but Delaware Speedway in Iowa. I intend on going to that, so I gotta I gotta run good. I gotta be able to balance the two and get my I feel as if I ran fairly well in the clone. I need to be able to emulate the same thing in the UAS. I don't intend on going out and being the fastest thing kind of in either. I just want to make progression. I want to get my UAS program back to close to what it once was, while also progressing forward in my clone. So it's a tall task, but I accept the challenge. Accepted. Yeah. No, you're very welcome. I got some. Should I spoil the surprise? I'll spoil the surprise. Hold on 1 second. I got something pretty cool today. 1 second. Oh wait, no, yeah, oh yeah, okay. We'll show this one. Never guess what I got in the mail today. Oh, what's that thing? What is that? Oh my, yeah. There may or may not be a video coming eventually. One might assume that there is a video coming eventually, but yeah, that's some cool stuff. I don't brag about stuff, but when you get really cool stuff and you'd be super appreciative. That's amazing. Super. Today is a good day. I have been racing. I haven't. I. You don't have to, but I would suggest it. That I will never tell anybody not to race. Oh, your stuff's too old. That's don't even bother going to that. I don't like prima donnas that say stuff like that. But there are speed advantages to modern frames and to modern design. There, back in 2001, I'm not saying that testing didn't go on. I'm not saying that they're not fast, and I'm not saying that you can't win on a 2001. but technology has come a long ways. Um, I would say more so it's going to be increasingly hard to find parts if you bend a spindle, if you get into some dust up. It's going to be increasingly hard to find parts. I mean, maybe you can have somebody make parts for you, great, or maybe you can kind of, have something fabricated for you to make that work. But there are, there's really, there's been some real good design changes and for the better in kart racing. Um, I wouldn't. I'm not even going to begin to argue whether or not the tubing is flexed out because that all is dependent. It is dependent on the surface. It is dependent on how current you are with your. I would, if you're going to race the older chassis, definitely keep up with replacing bearings. Stay up to date on that because you don't want stuff bending and moving and wobbling any more than you have to. But I would suggest getting on something a little more current, just merely for the fact of you're eventually somebody's going to spin in front of you. You're going to smack off them. You're going to bend a spindle. You're going to take some components out that really need to be replaced. And 2001 is a long time ago, man. So it's like, for instance, I had a Coyote Thrasher for a number of years. I wouldn't even begin to know where to get some of the spindle components, or they're not even L block. It was this it was a round type of deal that had a pill system for the camber in it. Like I'm sure I could call up the Coyote, but chances are they don't make that anymore. It's just a convenience thing. Also, there's like I said, there's more modern developments in the way chassis behave that I think that you're going to be fighting more things that you want to. But if you're going to play, if you're going to have fun, if you're just in it for racing sake, you just want to go to the track, you just want to, run around in circles type of thing, and you're not overly concerned on running up front. It's just, I think you might be at a disadvantage running a lot older stuff against, a bunch of new stuff. It's, yep. Taper bearings, where is that? Yeah. Let's see that hub a bit closer, please, man. Oh, yeah. No copying. I don't want to get in trouble. No, these things are already out there. They're on the website. But now the hub is aluminum, from what I know. I'm pretty sure. But the hardware is titanium, but 5.3, 5.3 titanium. Scott's a super dude. Like I said, I that one video on JC Specialties. He's probably the person that I talk to the most. Just real easy to get along. Just racers. Racers BSing about race stuff, and his table was amazing. Seeing all this stuff, I just super pumped that I got these in my hands. Really amazing products. It's I when I did the titanium axle video, I was just like, because it was not because I had a conversation with him, because obviously WKA had put up that post and everything, but then I had seen the titanium stuff that he had there, and I held it, and it got my brain turning, like, it is this stuff. I love the innovation, and that, like I said in the video, it's torn. I get the cost thing, but if there's money to be spent, people will spend it. It just got kind of reiterated even in NASCAR. Brad Keselowski says, if you save the teams, $2 million, they're not going to be like, oh, we don't have to spend $2 million. They're going to find somewhere else to spend that money in order to get the performance they need to win, to do better, to do right by the team. And even though we're smaller, even though you can make the argument about the cost of everything going up in karting, that same thing applies to us. We are racers. People will, if if they by chance were to ban titanium axles, which I don't think you can do it. My personal opinion, but they'll find another way. They'll find more speed somewhere. They'll find lighten this, lighten that. They're again, when you're running a clone, you need to utilize every bit of horsepower you have in order to get your power to rate ratio up. You get rotational weight up. Or get your rotational weight down, so you make all your horsepower available to you. Just people are going to find it no matter what. People are going to gripe about it no matter what. So just everybody calm down. That's where people like me come in a DZ machine. Yeah, yeah. Doug makes some really cool stuff. I feel horrible, Doug. They were buried. I was supposed to do a video or at least something, and I still will. I'm sorry. I don't know how many people in here run KT100. I will show you. See, this is Doug said I could use them on my exhaust. This is the style I have. I don't have studs to use these, but Doug makes these. Oh, and these are stainless. I'll show these up close. But KT100, the exhaust header bolts already drilled and they're tapped and everything. I just found them. They were in a. They kind of got scooted to the side. I feel freaking terrible. But he sent them out to me last year, and they were just end of the race season, everything, you know. And I was just I couldn't find them, and then when I was out here, you know, getting stuff ready, I'm like, found them. But yeah, you know, if you're gonna make an investment, if there's money to be spent, you can spend it on good stuff like this. Stuff that, you know, they aren't throwaway bolts. They're not Tractor Supply bolts. They're not stuff that you just, you know, oh, if you intend to have your stuff look nice, you know, not look like crap, you know, obviously be able to wire stuff so it doesn't fall off. That'd be nice. I've lost an exhaust before. I can tell you, especially you want. I finished off a race with a KT100 with the exhaust where the bolts came out and the header fell off. And first off, it's noisy. Second off, I could have burned up the piston. Third off, I'm too stubborn to pull off the track. So so yeah, it was. My old man chewed my butt pretty bad when it came in. He was just like, you know, you can burn a hole in the piston doing that, right? And I was like, oh, I just noticed that I could hold it wide open the entire, you know, way around the track. It was terrible. But yeah, what thread are they, Doug? If you don't mind asking, I guess it'd be a long time ago that I had. It was nice. They're all made one at a time from. Yeah, they're super nice. Yeah, that I was just showing you. Like I like application videos because I can show them being used, and I don't, you know, the bolt system I have on the hitter for the clone doesn't have this in 6mm. There you go. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to find a good way initially to like, hey, I like to, you know, check these out. I'm going to put these on this, and this is where they go, and you can wire tie them, and I couldn't find a way to put them on the clone because of what style I had, and I didn't want to get into replacing studs and this and that. So, but eventually, oh man, I think I maybe have some KT stuff around here. That'd be cool if I did. I could make it, you know, worth a while. I just, yeah, if anybody's looking for any custom bolts, stainless stuff like that, Doug's also, I don't know if you guys, anybody runs the KT100 or KT100 or open stuff where you got to shove a starter through your body work. He also makes these things, which this one looks pretty custom. I did a video on this and show that off. Oh, look at that. Hey, my wrap's on the way. But yeah, this goes in, you know, obviously you cut a hole in your body work, and this allows your starter to come in and plug. If anybody's running the open stuff, these things are really cool. Comes with rivets and a template. So you put the template on, and then you know exactly where the holes are, and then you can rivet it to your panel. Just cleans everything up, so you just don't have this ugly looking hole. You know, I think he did an amazing job. Yeah, really, really cool. DZ machine. Yeah, super nice guy. I feel. Did you run a jack shaft on a KT100? I did run a jack shaft on my KT100, and I ran a 2-disc clutch on it. I ran 2-disc, 3-disc. 2-disc. I had a 2-disc at the end there. I ran a 4-disc because it's all I had at one point. I'm still one on the thing. Of course, I ran on that big quarter-mile track with the KT100. So I would venture a guess that if I was running the KT on a small bow ring, that the Fortis clutch was a lot to be turning around there, and I would have been at a disadvantage off of starts because of rotational weight and getting that thing spooled up. But yeah, I ran a jack shaft. It was a long, long time ago, KT 100, that I ran the LNT clutch, the oil clutch on the engine. It's not that they don't work. Parts are extraordinarily expensive nowadays, if you can find them at all. And then burning up clutches is a very real thing. There's much. The jack shaft is just a much more efficient way to keep heat out of the crank and all that stuff. I highly suggest it. Now, some people, like way back in the day when there was a lot of big KT classes, I know that down south, like oh shoot, I can't think of that not West Virginia, but Virginia track. If it comes to me, I'll say it. But they used to run a jack shaft, and then it'd be belt drive across the jack shaft, and then they'd just have a solid gear. But then they'd run to an axle clutch on their rear axle. They did it with KT 100s. They also did it with the Reed engines. Yeah, there's different ways to do stuff, but I think that the jack shaft just frees you up. There's a little bit of like an engine brake when you're running a crank clutch, and it's unnecessary weight on the crank and unnecessary just heat and stuff like that. Just I think that it just in general, it's a better idea to run a jack shaft, in my opinion. It doesn't mean you can't, but yeah. Oh, okay. Make sure I get all the. I need that. Thanks. Oh, you're very welcome, Doug. Any idea on how to get new Burris 33s to duro harder? So that I do get that question often. There are a couple ways. Time is the the main thing. But in general, I say this knowing full well you can get the duro to rise, but at the cost of the tire. So there is a product. Oh, is it here? It might be out in the trailer still. Oh, look, there is a product called hexane. Might be out in the. I think it's out in the trailer. But hexane, HEXANANE, hexane. So you take a substance like hexane, you take a substance like methanol, that we run in our opens, and you wipe the tire and then let them sit in the sun. Or if you have a hot box, you would wipe them and roll them. Now, I say you're going to raise the durometer on the tire, but at the cost of the tire. Every time you wipe something harsh like a hexane, like a methanol, you could use acrosol. What you're doing is actually pulling oils out of the tire. So yes, it's hardening the tire, and it might be what you want. You might actually want to do that to your tire, but it is going to, in general, when you take oils out of a tire, you're going to start to degrade the tire. So just a thought, that yes, you can raise them, but in a hurry. And I'll say that, put them out in the sun or put them in the hot box and just kind of cook them. The more they're exposed to heat, the faster the durometer should come out. Obviously when they're hot, they're going to be, soft, but the more you get them warm, the more they are going to raise in durometer. So I'd put them out, you could increase the air in them a little bit, put them out in the sun. All those things are going to raise the durometer. Obviously the sun and in time, ideally is the way you want to do it. But if you want to accelerate the process, hexane, methanol, acrosol, wipes, just let them sit again with the heat, put them out in the sun, whatever you got to do in order to, but it will start to pull some of the oils out, therefore hardening the rubber. So I hope that helps. Doug. I'm not even going to begin to try and pronounce your last name. There's a reason why I haven't said your last name in a while, Doug, because like Tahita to G. Nope. Just shut up, Ben. You're welcome. Yeah, get with Doug. on Facebook. Super nice guy. Um, he's friends with a old guy, friend of mine from he was in the Carolinas, and then he's a trader. He went to California. I know where to speak. I'm obviously in New York. I did get oh got some Burris 11s. Put them on the GTR rims. Yeah, I got those. So my intent is to run Weed Sport on my birthday, April 26th. I have people have warned me. I got new graphics coming. I totally get it. But I also want the experience. I want to go to a track that I'm familiar with. I want to go to a place where it should be difficult on me. I want to. You don't get better by doing what you're good at. You get better by experiencing things that pull you out of your comfort zone and make you get better. And now the question is, I don't know that I'm going to run the money class at Weed Sport. I see they have a heavy class. Chances are, a driver has to be over 200 pounds. So that's me. Yeah, no problem. I got that. Driver has to be over 200 pounds for the heavy class, 400 class. So I think I might enter that. I don't know that I'm going to. Chances are I'm only going to have one set of 33. So as is, I'm sure there's teams there that are going to be changing tires every time they hit the track. I'm not going to do that. I am going to probably go with one set. Maybe I'll take some oldies. Maybe I'll practice on oldies and then save for qualifying and heat race and feature save the other ones. Maybe just run. I don't know what to do. But chances are I'm only going to have one set of 33s by that point in time. It's what I can afford. But yeah, I just want to experience that. And maybe I'm going to possibly try and do it VOG style. Talking about getting yourself out of your comfort zone. Me doing this to you guys, no problem. Me doing videos here, no problem. Me holding a camera up and being like, yeah, we've been qualifying this and that. I think we're gonna put, it's gonna be an adjustment for me. I really want to do it. I want to get better at it. Taking yourself out of your comfort zone. I want to do that. It'll give me, more content too by doing it that way. I don't think I can right off the cuff. I'm not going to be as good as Degenerate Garage or Super Duper South at doing the whole vlog thing because it's out of my comfort zone. But I'll get it. If I do it enough times, it'll just become like this, and it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, it's. I actually don't. I don't intend on cutting my Burris. I know I'm going to be at a disadvantage doing it. Because there are people there that are going to have cut tires that are and all that. But I want to know how far off everything is. I'll have a fresh engine. My bearings are brand new in the cart. I'll be scaled up. I'll have a fresh set of 33s that are going to be just surfaced, uncut. I don't. If I'm going to cut anything, I'll do it on my tire machine here, which is not square, by the way. I've got to do the Star Pro video here, and the white rear axle that is currently occupying my surfacer. There's definitely a to it. So yeah. Reaper tire on a super wet track. What would you recommend? So far, what I've heard about the Reaper tire is they don't like a tire, and this comes from my experience too. I tried to load them down. I put 4 ounces in right side tires, 2 ounces in the left, and I saturated the outside of the tire. I did not have any luck with it. I think they slowed the tire down. That being said, what I've heard, I'll just relay to you guys what I've heard. The fresher the Reaper tire, the better the Reaper tire. There's a lot of brands that are like that. Also, they don't like a ton of eternal. No more than say 2 ounces, and in a right side, 1 ounce on the left side, whatever that equals out to be cc wise, thereabouts. Maybe even lighter than that. You might not even want to go that heavy just to get some in the tire. I don't think you're going to be able to drop durometer with any internal prep on the Reapers. At least the Reapers I have, they didn't react that way. Externally, I'd play it by ear for what the track is calling for. Better than GoPro might, if it's a wet track, yes. I would probably be wiping Better than GoPro orange if you just want something to fire off. But the chemicals that from the track tech line that I've heard that have been working are I gotta go this way. There's Ruby right there, red. It's a lighter prep. It's just just to gain a little bit of bite in the tire, a little bit of something to fire off the tire. Obviously, black sand or black sand and acrosol, but they, from what I've had reported to me, they don't like a ton of prep. Now up north here, we're kind of in a bind because we, essentially our tracks need slightly softer tires, but I say that with a caveat. If you're running if you're running a class that everybody's running Reapers, you're all on the same playing field. So you are all, it's a harder tire up north here. It's tough to get a harder tire to hook up on some of our softer tracks. You're all in the same boat, so to speak. So it's, yes, wiping something on them just to kind of bring them in. If it's rainy, if it's a heavy track, if it's a wet track, I would be wiping something like Better and GoPro. You're probably only going to need, a wipe or two. My daughter's sending me stuff about protein bars. Okay. But something to bring the tire in. I think the longer the run goes, I felt the more heat that was developed into the Reaper, the better it bit the track. Bit into the track. So there's that. Yeah, who cuts your burrs? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, cut burrs is faster than uncut. I agree, and I'm going to do a video here eventually on Burris tires, just in general. Now I don't cut my Burris. I probably should. My lack of experience with my homemade, actually cutting them myself. I obviously don't have a tire cutter here. I could pay somebody to have it done, but I'm also a cheapskate. So there's that. But yes, in general, those of you who don't know, a rounded Burris is good for a softer, hard to get a hold of track. If you're on a faster type of, that'd be a round cut on the outside, and then if you're on a faster type surface like Wheat Sport is going to be, typically a square cut is going to be the best bet. It's going to make the tire faster to have a square edge. But yes, I like shortcuts. I cut your, yeah. I'm not going to do it to a brand new set of Burris and screw them up. Although I have a whole bunch of like 2019, and is that the newest? I thought I had 2020s around here somewhere. That's the newest Burris 33 I have, is like a 2019 or 2020. And you think, what? But why, Ben? When I was running Paradise Speedway in Geneva, unnecessary to have new tires, especially on the open or KT 100. Absolutely unnecessary. I won on, it was 2021, 2022, and I was winning on 2016 tires in both UAS and on the KT 100. So that track, for what it called for 30, it wanted a 33. It was an open tire, but 33 performed the best. Older stuff really did work a lot better on that surface. But yeah, I don't disagree that cut tires are faster. Now, there is an art to the thickness and what a particular track is calling for a night. Do you want, something that's in the 30,000s range? Do you want something in the 50,000s range? Because I think Burris comes in at a 90 to start. So how much do you just cut them so they're square? Do you cut them down just a little bit? Do you cut them to be round? Do you cut them to be flat? Do you hard fast track? If it's the dead of summer, do you just get them right down to 20,000s? Something like that. there's an art to cutting tires. There's also an art to knowing what Burris to run and when and what to do to them. Now, I do love Burris, and I love that the fact that I don't internal them. I don't know a lot of people that do internal them. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean that you can't do it, or whatever. I like them because typically it's a surface them. No matter if they're caught or not caught, you surface them coming into the week. You just get your stagger set up. You show up to the track and do what you need to do to them the day of the race. Just wipe according to what the track is calling for, whether that be a late race, or coming to the grid late and just getting a late wipe on them, or if it means that, hey man, this track really, you're going to have to get some goat into them. You're going to have to get some better goat pea or topaz or something like that. You're going to need to build the bike, but I wouldn't do most of it preemptively to the night of racing with Burris. And there's a comparison there to be made, that I think that the Reapers are not going to be like a Maxxis, and they're not going to be like a Vega, to whereas you can just load them. You can roll internal and you can wipe them all week long to get a Maxxis ready. You can do the same thing to a Vega to get a Vega yellow ready. But I think that both the Reaper and Burris tires are almost accentuated by just prepping the day of the race. But it's opinion of mine. I did get an ultrasonic cleaner, and I cleaned some stuff with it. It's just a tiny one. Here's a little, right there. Yep, it was like $55 on Amazon. I didn't clean it out or anything. Yep, see, I was doing some inconsequential parts. So for the steering components and rear hubs and stuff like that, they just throw them in kind of time to just get them cleaned up a little bit. But I gotta clean that out and get some. I had a suggestion about what to put in there for carbs. I have to do a video. My elbows. I have to do a video on clone carbs and putting, cleaning them in the machine. I have to see, my engine builder suggested a type of cleaner, and I want to see how they do. But I have to do a video on the get the carb get the carb off the clone, kind of show what it's about. I'm not huge on my knowledge base of bowl and float style carbs. I'm more butterfly because of my open days. But just taking the bowl off, showing people, hey, this is what you're looking for. You want to make sure these orifices are clean. I've already kind of gone through one before. I just didn't get it on film, but getting it, cleaning them in an ultrasonic cleaner, every other race or something like that. Every race if you want to, but it's not a bad idea. They can get funky on you and start misbehaving if any of the orifices get all plugged up. You should always be running a fuel filter, by the way. A KT100. How do you determine your clutch gearing? Was there a rear gear you tried to stay with on your rear? Determine your clutch gear? No. So it's, how do I explain this? I just set clutch engagement kind of on the floor. You're looking for about 10.5. You can run it lower if you want. But I had a video. It was a long time ago where I was on this floor and I was just blatting it, trying to watching my tack and trying to get it, feeling where the clutch was grabbing. You can do it on the stand, like hold the rear tire as you're bringing the RPM up and watch your tack to see where that's set. But every track is going to be different. It's an overall gear ratio that you're looking for the most part to keep it into that 14,000 RPM range. A big quarter mile like I was running at Paradise Speedway, it was like was it 7.5 to 1, 775 to 1, something like that. Something like if I was going to run it at a bull ring at AMS, that little bull ring, that 10th mile there. If I was going to run a KT100 there, I just the difference in clutch driver is going to be immense. I think I ran like a 19 at that big quarter mile, but I'd probably be on something much smaller, like a 12 or something, 12 or 13 if I was running a bull ring on it. So it's very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult to determine clutching. I would love to tell you, hey, put this gear on and this gear, and it'll be this. It's super track dependent. It really is. There's too many tracks, too many variables, too many this and that for me to just say, hey, this works for KT 100. Run rate brands after every race. Be careful the cleaner to use. Yep, that's Simple Green's what's in there now. I did like 50-50 water. I diluted down the Simple Green so it wasn't too crazy. Uh, but yeah, that's not a bad idea. Some people, I had heard Pine Sol. Somebody had used Pine Sol. The thing that for the carburetors, I believe that the my engine guy said was Zep. There's a type of Zep degreaser that works really well. I looked briefly on Google and I was like, "Ooh, it's expensive stuff." But I mean, if it's worth it. If it does a good job, it's worth it. Uh, but I got, I definitely got to. I even running something like, like an orange base. Zap has I know they have an orange degreaser that might be a really good one. Um, you want something to break up, all the crap and everything. Okay, looking forward. Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah. I have to. Okay, got that one. Yeah, it's my first. Well, I won't say it's my first ultrasonic cleaner. I had one a long time ago when I was going to be a tattoo artist, and I had a tiny little one. Obviously, you do your tattoos, you put your tubes in there with a solution, break up all the ink and stuff like that, get them scrubbed up clean. Then you put them in the bag and put them in the whatever that thing's called, autoclave, and get those sterilized. Man, things have changed in the world of tattooing since then. Everything is pre-made and pre-sanitized and everything. Just rip open a brand new pack. And obviously the tattoo guns that made a lot of noise that I was apprenticing on are. It's not that they're no longer a thing. It's that the pen style have replaced it, and then there's cartridges that go in the end. It's a whole. I got a whole. I bought all the stuff because I was going to tattoo again, and then it just kind of sat there because I work, and then I try and run a YouTube channel, and then work on the cart and answer questions and everything that kind of video and everything goes in. It's just like that was. It was very. Nah, I won't say silly. It wasn't that expensive to buy the stuff, but I got a nice DeWalt set up. I got containers. I got gloves. I got this. I got inks. I got everything to do tattoos again. And then just there's zero time. And then what time I have, I spend it with you guys online. It's silly. During the bowl after each race, yes, absolutely. Um, if you're gonna do like I think I did that video on purging down. If you're gonna do bare minimum stuff, if you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner and you don't know much about the carburetor, I would absolutely just take the little drain hole, drain out and drain the bowl of any gas, get that out of there so nothing kind of gets sticky in there. But if you can run, WD-40 through it, if you can run purge gas, which would just be some Marlboro Mystery Oil mixed with gas, just keep everything kind of lubricated in there so bad stuff doesn't happen. Uh, oh, interesting. Yeah, I noticed mine had heat and it's in Celsius, and I still don't. I mean, I could have Googled it, but I looked at it. I was like, what is this 50? And then I was playing with it. I was like 20. No, we'll go down a little more because I don't want it. Like Celsius. What do you want? You want to change it over to millimeters as well? The metric system? Stop it. We're America. Yeah, no, obviously in the summer, heat's not going to be an issue, right? I didn't notice I didn't have the heat setting on initially And like Bill's saying here, it did get slightly warm just on its own. And the vibration, obviously, that's going to happen. It's going to heat the water up a little bit. I get it. But what little stuff I put in there, I mean, it was, like I said, inconsequential stuff. Just like the bolt for the steering. It was all gunked up because I just, after a wash or whatever, I sprayed down and it had collected dirt and everything, and it was a little gunky. So I threw that in. I threw, like just hardware, just get stuff cleaned up as I was assembling the cart. It worked really well. It just, even 10 minutes in there, really broke stuff up. I could wipe it off, and I was like, oh, that was handy as heck. Why haven't I done that yet? Yes, and if you use the purple cleaner, and gets warm, it will eat the aluminum. Oh yeah. So yeah, purple power, the acid that's in it, really good for cleaning stuff, but it does a number on aluminum. That is absolutely certain. I stopped. I don't have a problem with purple power, but I stopped using it because it was discoloring some of my aluminum on my open stuff, and it bothered me. So I started using, just like I said, the Zep, the orange, degreaser, and Simple Green seems to not do that. But yeah, one thing I do like to use, mounting tires. I do like to use purple power for mounting tires, and that Track Deck has a product for that, for mounting tires. Like I've never had it, but getting the beads to see and everything. But I always liked purple power because of that bite agent. So the acid would eat into it. You spray it. It's super slick at first. So you mount the tire, and that it bites into the rubber and it bites in the aluminum, and it seemed to make a great seal for me. I've done it like that for years. I have never had a problem. I've lost very few beads. It's I don't people can do it. I know that people like to mount their stuff dry, but purple power is actually more of a choice for me. Just spray down it's like I said, it's super slick to start with. It seats the beads awesome, and then that actually bites into both the rubber and the aluminum and makes a nice seal. But uh, even after several use, oh, wait, let me get caught back up here. It's okay. Mini gears on your clone. I have not. I may have an opportunity to run mini gears this year. I'm in conversations with somebody to possibly borrow a set for the year, to experiment with them, to see, do videos on them. Because I did a video that it was all in theory because I've never run it. But the only problem that it presents with the tracks that I run is everything up here is real small. So we are on a 10 or 11 driver for the most part, maybe a 12, if you get slightly bigger, but 10 or 11 driver, which means there's no bearing, it's right on the crank. You have to run those small front gears in order to run the rear gears, but it's rotational weight. Reducing that is going to increase your horsepower. So there's an argument to be made about pinching off that chain, though. When you have to run such a tight gear, if you have to run a 10 on your crank, you're starting to that pinch it may bind a tick. There's an argument for it. I'm not saying it's correct or incorrect, but yeah, rotational. It's all in the art of maximizing your horsepower. But I may have a chance to get to run those this year. Where I was in talks with a person. I don't see who it is or anything like that, because until it happens, it hasn't happened. But right now I run standard stuff. I have a floating PRC rear hub, which means it wobbles a little bit, so it stays aligned. But yeah, I use Simple Green most of it. Yeah, Simple. I'm sure Simple Green will do the same as well. Yes, yeah. I have a whole bunch of Buller blue stuff that ain't so blue anymore, Doug. That's purple power. I love hand soap and water. Absolutely, yeah. whatever works as long as the bead stays on. I've heard people using hairspray to keep them on and this and that. I'm saying Purple Power has always worked for me, and I've lost maybe two or three beads ever in racing. Now, knock on wood, it's probably going to happen to me like weed sport or something like that. I'm going to, have an issue or something. Just because now it's on it out in the ether that I said that I haven't lost any. It's going to happen. But yes, there's a reason why I use Purple Power for it, and I prefer it because it does just that. I think it makes a better seal. It bites into things. But that's me. Mounting dry for fear of debeating. Yep. Yeah, there's one thing that you gotta worry about, that when you're dry setting a bead, that I'm not saying it's not possible. I don't do it. I've never done it. I don't like it. I've always used some form of lubricant. But yes, it's probably going to take a lot. I will say that if you're going to do it, heat is probably a good thing. Getting the tire warmer, putting them out in the sun or whatever, getting that bead so it would probably help mount it to some stubborn rims. But I mean, Burris especially, I've never had a problem mounting Burris. Like the trials and tribulations that are Vega yellows. I love that you can run and like right down there with a Vega yellow, like 1 psi. If you really want to run that, you can, even on an open, you can do it because of how tight those beads are and how stiff that sidewall is. It's awesome, great, cool. But mounting those things, oh man, I'm surprised I haven't lost a couple rims, doing it. I definitely. Oh, I gotta find that tool too. I gotta start mounting some tires. I really like that tool. That gentleman sent to me. I did a review of it. With it long hose, and gang or open up the valve and it mounts. Is that over there? It might be. I might have left it at work. Oh no, it's right there. A liar. This thing. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not. If you've seen the video or not. I don't expect everybody watches everything I ever do. But yeah, so this, obviously, and then this. So the just hook that on. This gets you away from your rim. Set it off to the side, and then just poop, and opens it up and lets all the air in once, and it does a really phenomenal job of popping beads, as long as you got enough pressure there. Yeah, I'm going to need that soon. We'll put those with the 11s. I hope to run. I don't think I'll run the practice. So there's a swap meet going to be going on at AMS April 5th. I might take down some stuff. I just I might give away some tires and stuff like that I just absolutely am not going to use if anybody wants them, type of thing. But I think they're if weather's okay, they plan on running practice. I don't think I want to get my stuff dirty for that. I'll wait for an actual race. But I might run the following week or something if AMS is going to do that. Try out the 11s on the GTR rims, see how those behave, and just log some laps, get kind of used to see. I don't really care how I do, but my intent to do that maybe the first couple weeks of April, in preparation for weed sport, log some laps. Those are also yes, absolutely. I was always super nervous because at work I have the old chuck where and you got your hand right in there. I think it was Matthew Lakatis that he could have lost his hand. One of the rims went boom, and it took some knuckles with it. And scary thing. And ever since then, it just reminds me of the old days. My grandpa used to have. He used to tractor trailer tires, and they had that cage to keep the two pieces from blowing apart and killing anybody. And there was dents all through it. That when they let go and did all the stuff, you'd use lighter fluid and what have you, to seat beads on those big big, farm rims and this and that. And I remember seeing that and thought it kind of, it was like, man, that wouldn't be a bad idea to have a cart related one, just a cage. You put your tire in there. It's maybe it's, oh, we're going to wrap ourselves in bubble wrap, type of thing. But also, I don't want to lose any digits over this. So getting that hose, getting yourself and your hands away from that. If something by chance goes, sideways, uh, the goes with a, you could say firearms as well, but you don't have a fire extinguisher because you think you're going to have a fire. You have you don't think you're going to have a problem until you have a problem. Uh, tire band or bus. Yeah. Yeah. I know some people don't do a tire band, and I really like those rings though. Those are always, the 34-inch rim. Um, I just wish that companies would make their dang left rears uh 32 and a half. That'd be great. You could stretch a tire. Shrinking them is a bigger pain. But yeah, checks within 2 or 3 hours from you. Oh, okay. Let's state line. I'll start from the west of me. State line, but that's right on the state line. It's PA ish. There's Ransomville, which is up Buffalo way, um, and then AMS and uh, KB Speedway. Those are both within an hour. And then as you go east of me, I have Champion on Friday night. Adrenaline. Hopefully, they get their temporary track status again. They apparently it didn't pass board. They didn't get their permanent uh, facility set up there. And Dreamfield, uh, and then beyond there, I think you're getting past the 2 to 3 hours. I mean, there used to be Ephrata. There used to be, yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. There are a couple tracks that I've never been to. Moose Mountain. Moose Mountain is one. So I probably have the availability of 5 or 6 tracks to me just in the New York area. If I go south, that's well, for instance, Penn's Creek. I just went down to JC, so that's 2 and 3/4 hours to get down to Penn's Creek, and then Selins Grove for like BMS if I wanted to do that. That's it. I have probably 10 altogether are within 3-ish hours of me. Most most of them are hour and a half to 2 hours away. Um, I recommend soap between tire and rink. Oh yeah, yeah. If you get the cinching down and stuff. I've had some ones that I just tried to like basically strangle. Just got some size rings. Nice. Yeah. DSE had some, or I know they didn't have any at the open house, but that I saw. But DSE Denver Smith makes some really really nice ones. Yeah. But all right, guys. It is 68 minutes and 45 seconds that I've been on here yapping with y'all. I really do appreciate you guys coming by. Uh, did I show you? I got a body today. This showed up. I got real quick before I get off here. But this is a John's Kart Bodies I got at JC Specialties. A little more budget friendly option compared to your Chavis and Charger and stuff like that. Um, yeah, super nice from what I see. I just started to assemble it, but I ordered that wrap, so that's coming. I had to have a new body. I'm not going to put a new wrap on an old body. But yeah, the John's Kart Bodies. I think it's $205 at JC. Real reasonable. I mean, it's Chavis and Charger and all them are going to be 230 or better. And then I guess the Chavis, the brand new one, the P47 is like $300 or something like that. But hey, to each your own. You want to buy that stuff? Cool. You got the money to afford that stuff? Cool. But I thought that John's Kart Bodies looked really nice. real solid. The nose feels like it can take some bend action because I'm rough on stuff. It feels real solid, like it's going to do well. So that is an option at JC to get those. But I've done body mounting stuff, so I wasn't going to do one on this. I was just going to kind of mount it and get it on the cart and then kind of show off the wrap once that's done. But all right, I should get off of here because I will continue to talk if you allow me to talk. So let's not do that. So new video coming Sunday. It is going to be on the Star Pro stuff. Real quick, it's going to be on this. This goes on the tire surfacer. Quick change. Takes the whole taking that out of there. Really cool, lightweight. Also the tire washer, if you saw that. So that video is coming on Sunday. I have yet to shoot any of it because I am a last minute Larry and I do everything just to make my life harder, I guess. But yeah, I should be shooting that Saturday for Sunday there. Hopefully I do a good job for Rich. He's been super good to me and we're talking back and forth. So that thing, Star Pro. Star Pro. If you start, I think it's just starpro.com or something like that. But yes, they have two different styles. I'll do a video on it, but they have two different styles. So this is for inch and a quarter. So my surfacer that I homemade built, it just has a rear axle out of a cart or part of one. If it's there, and they also have a style that mounts from the inside of a smaller surface. So you'll see the video on Sunday, but yes, these are it takes all the work out of it. Super cool. Rich is a real good dude. I've been talking to, like I said, I've been talking back and forth, and I got a couple products of his to show you guys. I hope you enjoy the video, but yeah, we'll see you next Thursday right here live and Sunday for that video. So I'll catch you guys later.